I'm Steve Reinke. I like being in Germany where they say Reinkes. And my film is a 22-minute video essay, A Boy Needs a Friend, that is about kind of gay male intimacy and many other things, actually.
My first question is actually, when did you start thinking about this project, A Boy Needs a Friend? And, or is it, I can also imagine that it's material that's you've been collected over years and now maybe put together into the film, but like the concept or the idea behind it, how did that evolve?
Right. Well, I'm always making work kind of in little chunks. And so I think just the title came first. And I liked the title, and so began then to do kind of more chunks around friendship or intimacy.
And do you always work, would you call it, like I would call it an essay, like essayistic, for like how do you label it and what is it essentially about? Do you want to label it? I mean, I don't know if that's even necessary, but I think it helps a little bit.
Yeah. I think of it as a video essay as well, but it's also part of an ongoing series of video essays called Final Thoughts. And this is, the video is a segment of Final Thoughts Series 4. So it's, and the idea is the series will continue, series of sort of first-person video essays until the moment of my death. So there'll always be another thought to replace the one that just went before it until there can't be any more.
And it's so, like, in a way, when I watched it, I think 2 or 3 times, and it's so complex because it tackles issues of nationality, sexuality, being a white man, I guess, or being a man who has a double citizenship, who travels, who lives his life basically, but from very particular perspectives. And how do you position yourself in this world? This is a very broad question, I know,
it's a very
but
broad question.
It feels like you tried, or you attempt to say something about this, like position and your experience of living this life. And there, you have something to say about that.
Well, this is almost the first video I've ever done that is actually quite personal. I've always used for 25 years now my own voice and first person in my work, but it's rarely been actually about me. And this one really is pretty specifically about me, and also much more personal. There was kind of no way to tackle the theme of friendship or intimacy without actually being more personal, less fictional, somewhat less ironic than all my work has been in the past. That doesn't actually answer your question, but it's sort of.
Yeah, but is, like, as an artist and as a creative person living in these times, is the question of position or or perspective, is that important to you? And if yes, then how far?
Of course it's important. That's kind of all there is. I mean, for me, work is always, artwork in general, but mine too, always trying to sort of, it sort of destroys and makes the world at the same time. So it's a way of constantly seeing what's possible to think, feel, or do in the world, and that always has to take into account one's position, a variety of positions.
Like the title "A Boy Needs a Friend" immediately calls, I don't know, gender to my mind, or and I'm wondering what does boyhood or boy mean to you, and how do you think about your own boyhood?
Yeah.
Do you remember a lot, or do you?
Well, no. I mean, I don't think about it that often. I probably could remember stuff. I mean, it's also a very kind of queer male video. I mean, in real life, most of my friends, 60-70% of my friends are women, and there's not a trace of women in the video at all. It's very much about men, so it's even more about kind of gay intimacy rather than friendship.
Yes.
And so the idea of boyness was kind of central.
But a boy usually grows into a man, in a way, and the stuff we see in terms of gay intimacy is very much is like grown man or like a gay, mature male sexuality in a way. Like, do you also talk about this evolution in this film, or do you think about that? Did you think about that?
Not in this one so much, but certainly to say boy instead of man is to come from a place that's a bit more vulnerable or a bit more pathetic. And even the statement "a boy needs a friend" is both a pathetic plea and just a fact. Yeah, man needs a friend doesn't quite work.
And how much does, well, you talk about the fact that you have two citizenships and then also a part plays in Paris. Like, what role does like location play in Europe and America, history and
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, but it must play. I mean, it's quite. I mean, there are two things that happened biographically around the time I was making the video. And they were things which I would have supposed wouldn't make any difference at all, but seemed to make some kind of difference, although it's hard to pinpoint. One was getting married. There's a monologue about that in the video. And the other one was getting dual citizenship, getting American citizenship, because I'm from Canada, which I would have thought would make no difference at all, but there's sort of slight psychic shift in, a more radical one in marriage, but a slight one in the citizenship as well.
Can you elaborate on that?
I can't really. I mean, the way I elaborated in the video was to make a joke about the citizenship one.
But do you remember, like, did you have to go to some sort of like office and like do an oath and like? How was that? Is it a joke in the end for you, or
not a joke? No,
but
is the section about it in the video is a joke.
But is it humor a way to deal with that, maybe in a more productive way than taking it too seriously? I don't know.
Right. Well, I just thought it wouldn't make so much material difference. I mean, I get to votes, and they can't kick me out of America so easily now, or at all. I'm a citizen.
Probably not. Yeah.
Right. So there's a different kind of stability.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Europe and like, what does Paris mean to you in Europe? I've watched a lot of films. Well, two French films at the festival. One takes place in Paris, and it's also a gay film. And I don't know. Do you have a certain relationship as an American or Canadian to Europe and to Paris in particular? And
I just happen to be in Paris where I shot that. I'm not in Paris very often. I'm much more often in Berlin or the Netherlands or England. There are also those places, Northern Europe, show my work much more often than any place else in the world. So it's partly a professional relationship. I come here to show things and sometimes to make things. But life and things are quite different in Europe than they are.
They are changing right now, also radically. You said you want to continue the series until your death.
Yeah.
In a way. Why? What is it about? What fascinates you about continuing this project?
It's that there's never an idea that comes to an end or a conclusion, that there are always more ways to go. And so one of them, it is in this video, I have a joke about Marshall McLuhan. I love sort of Marshall McLuhan is just a constant stream of ideas. Some of them make sense, some of them don't make sense, but some of them stick. So it's just sort of keeping working at it without ever expecting there will be any particular conclusion or any even particular belief. Just completely contingent churning up of possibilities.
And do you already think about form? Like, do you want to continue in this like video, essayistic form, or is it what? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the structures of individual videos change, but that's the basic form.
And what role does voice play? I think your voice is really, is very significant in that film.
Yeah. I mean, it's central. I've been using my voice in my work, for 25 years, since the beginning.
Like, in what way? Why is it central?
Well, I started out as a writer, and so say it's 1982 or 1984, and Laurie Anderson's "Oh Superman" came on the radio, and it suddenly occurred to me that writing could be extended through voice, through performance, and through use of images. But still, the voice was central. It's the voice is also the fastest way to seduce an audience or to get an audience's attention.
So it's not a monologue.
It's a series of monologues. Yeah.
But who do you talk to, or do you envision anyone when you write it, or is it just a performance for yourself and then?
No, there's always the audience is in mind, but it's an amorphous idea. The audience. I have no specific kind of audience.
So you don't want to target like specific groups or?
No, I like to do work that a different kind of people could look at. Of course, the audience is never that wide, and sort of get different responses from. So from the very beginning, I was conscious of not in this video a little bit of using, say, strongly sexual images or gay porn. I wanted to use them in a way that, even though gay people would have a totally different relationship to them than certain other types of people, that there would be something in the video that they could all have some kind of relationship to the material.
How do you edit? Do you edit yourself? Or?
I do.
Yeah,
it's all about editing.
Yes. How do you edit? Like, how do you do? Like, do you edit for the writing, for your voice, or do you first just use the sort of like bring the images together into like one coherent like film, and then you put your voice over it, or like in terms of like pacing and like?
Yeah, pacing is all audio, so a combination of a voice and other types of audio material are the basis for how I edit or structure things.
Okay, and how long does it take you? Do you just?
It can really vary, but I work all the time, and I work fairly fast. Yeah, I mean, that video is short. It took 5 months, so maybe not that fast, but.
And how? I guess you had some conversations with the audience here too after screenings. Like, what questions come up? Like, what does it trigger in people? What are they interested in?
Oh, what did come up? My mind is blank.
That's okay.
I don't remember any of the questions from the audience.
So did you talk for a long time? Did you? I mean, you had a conversation with them, though.
I did. Okay. It was quite short. I remember both moderators asked the same question, which I only had a lame answer to. It's like, how do you know when a work is done?
Okay.
And I was just like,
is it a feeling? You probably don't know. It's just a feeling. Like,
it's mostly a feeling. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's easy to know when something isn't done.
Yeah.
There are parts that don't. Yeah. You know that something's not working.
Yeah.
Or there are points where the energy lags, or something isn't making sense.
Yeah.
I guess when it stops not working, it's finished.
It's finished.
Right.
I know you also teach. How do you teach, and what's your relationship to that position? Talking about positions you have in society or as an artist, and one of it is also a teacher or like mentor, maybe, I guess, as an art professor. How do you see that role? Yeah.
It's also the video where I come out as a teacher, which I've never mentioned in a work before. How do I see my role? I don't know. I think it's always interesting to help people make work and write. That's a horrible answer. Teaching, I don't know.
No, to help people. That's a good. That's the essential role.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know. Do you have a specific? What are your experiences, or what are you like always? How do you do that? What's your like way of helping a student?
Oh, well, I'm very much, they can do what they want.
Okay.
And some of them find that frustrating. Students often want...
It's freedom,
They want you to tell them, if they're making work for you, I can be tremendously opaque. It's like, you can't make work for me, you have to make your own work. I have... there are a lot of ex-students that I still collaborate with, or a handful. So it's also being a way to pluck collaborators.
And what are your upcoming projects, and what are you planning to do, except the series that is going to continue until you die? But what is?
Well, that's about it, really. I also do a lot of writing and kind of other things. The next one in the series, Welcome to David Warnerovich Week, will premiere in Berlin at a show opening March 12th at Isabella Bortolozzi. So both the video I showed here, A Boy Needs a Friend, and the new video, I'm almost finished.
Okay.
Welcome to David Warnerovich Week, as well as some drawings and needlepoints.
What is that about? That
Well, it has as its slogan, more rage, less disgust. And in it, the narrator says anyone can celebrate David Warnerovich Week anytime they want. He does it the second week in February. And it's a time to try and work against beauty and sadness to work up rage. But then I'm not able to do that. Yeah.
But is he some sort of like, I don't want to use the word idol, but like what do you...
Well, he's certainly a touchstone. He's an important figure.
Yeah. In your own evolution as an artist or creative person, or just as a queer person? Or?
Actually, not especially for me, only a little bit for me. I think culturally. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think he introduced, or like what did he shift or change?
Well, he introduced a kind of punk rage and sadness with very little means. It's sort of a raw, simple work across a range of media. So photography, film, performance, writing. So for me, sort of a central figure in that New York gay punk queer activism scene.
Okay. Cool, and this is going to open in Berlin?
In Berlin.
Where and when again?
March 12th, Isabella Bortolozzi Gallery.
Okay, and that is, do you know what part of the city that is in?
Schöneberg.
In Schöneberg, okay. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you. The video is a segment of Final Thoughts Series 4. So it's, and the idea is the series will continue, a series of sort of first-person video essays until the moment of my death. So there'll always be another thought to replace the one that just went before it until there can't be any more.
And it's so like in a way when I
gay male intimacy and many other things actually.
My first question is actually, when did you start thinking about this project, A Boy Needs a Friend? And or is it, I can also imagine that it's material that's you've been collected over years and now maybe put together into the film, but like the concept or the idea behind it, how did that evolve?
Right. Well, I'm always making work kind of in little chunks. And so I think just the title came first. And I liked the title, and so began then to do kind of more chunks around friendship or intimacy.
And do you always work, would you call it, like I would call it an essay, like essayistic, for like how do you label it, and what is it essentially about? Do you want to label it? I mean, I don't know if that's even necessary, but I think it helps a little bit.
Yeah, I think of it as a video essay as well, but it's also part of an ongoing series of video essays called Final Thoughts, and this is. So I'm Steve Reinke. I like being in Germany where they say Reinkes. And my film is a 22-minute video essay, A Boy Needs a Friend, that is about kind of